Hi guys, and welcome to your daily tarot reading for Tuesday the 23rd of November 2021. I'm going to use the Radiant Rider-Waite deck for today's reading. Let me just show you some of these cards so you get an idea of what they look like. This is the deck that I use in my personal readings, and that's the one I would recommend to anyone starting out with the tarot. It's a really good deck to learn. If you know this one, you know pretty much most of the others. So let's have a look at what these cards have to say about Tuesday the 23rd. Okay, we've got the Chariot. That's always a good sign. The Chariot is about triumph and getting what it is you want. Wow, then we have the Magician, another very empowered figure here. The Magician downloads messages from the universe, translates them, and creates magic on planet Earth. And finally, wow, the Hermit, the ultimate loner. So we have all these kind of pioneering figures here. The Chariot card is someone who succeeds because he sets the goals by himself, and then he jumps on the chariot and makes it happen. The Magician works in conjunction with his higher self, but ultimately it's he that makes the magic happen. And the Hermit goes out into the mountains and contemplates all by himself. And all these major arcana cards are very self-sufficient people. They don't expect things from others. If they want something done, they do it themselves in a way. And they realize that there's some sort of inherent value that resides within. So whether you're going within to get that value, or you're reaching up to something bigger to support you and to guide you, or you're saying the value is in my mind, and if I will it, it will be done, and of course it will be amazing because it's me doing it. It's three very different ways of doing things, but ultimately the thing that they all have in common is that they do what they want and they rely on themselves and the inner voice. And if it feels good and right, and if they want to do it, they don't bite their fingernails for 5 years and wait. They actually just go and do it. So that's the first thing I get, is that if there's something on your mind you're not quite sure about, and you've been kind of mulling it over again and again and again, I think today is the moment to actually just act and to do something about it. And then secondly, I get that there are very different people in your life on this day. So your relationships may seem very fascinating, but they may seem very difficult to suss out. Because let's say the Magician and the Hermit were to meet, okay? And the Magician says, you know what, I really want to understand you. I want to know how you're so able to go out there and to ask the big questions. But it's not, they're not going to sit around at a dinner table and laugh their heads off, these three, because the Hermit would never say, okay, little Magician, let me sit you down and explain how meditation works. He wouldn't do that because he's too busy meditating by himself. So he's not a teacher. Same way, if the Hermit said, hey, Magician, show me some, show me how to control the elements and how to manifest whatever it is I want on this planet. I'm really interested in what you do. Then the Magician, same thing. He wouldn't say, okay, step 1, think of something. Step 2. He would say, I'm actually too busy making magic to explain it to you. So the main thing I'm getting is that there's a bit of a disconnect between you and other people, and you can see people and admire them, but there may be a sense that I don't understand what they're doing and I just don't get their way of life. But just because you don't get someone doesn't mean you have to be at odds with them. You can respect them for what they do and for the fact that they do things in a different way. And I feel that as long as you don't put pressure to be understood or to try and get understanding, then you're going to avoid a lot of potential problems, because it's very much about what you can do, and leaning on other people today isn't going to be very welcome, or it's not going to have such a great result, I feel. So the Chariot is the 7th card in the major arcana. The Chariot rider here, he hops on this thing and he says, let's go. We've got the white Sphinx and the black Sphinx. It means that his will trumps good and evil. Anything that's going on in his real life is irrelevant if he makes a decision for himself and he goes and moves ahead with that regardless of what goes on, he can create something that doesn't lie in either one of these two camps. It's something that exists in his own right. So basically the card is saying, if you want something out of life, make it happen for yourself. Don't wait for other people to give it to you. Don't wait for it to be handed to you on a silver platter. You've got two legs, you've got a mind, you've got the ability to generate energy. Why not make it happen for yourself, or at least try? And the Chariot card says that if you do try today, you're going to be very happy with the outcome because you're very likely to succeed and you're very likely to get what it is you want. So ask yourself, what is it that I do want? Either you'll get a clue how to get closer, or you'll actually get that thing today, or you'll start to have an inkling of, hey, this is maybe something I do want. Maybe I'll pursue it. The Magician next. So this wand up here, he's not sticking it in the rose bushes. What he's doing is he's trying to get some sort of guidance from his higher self. What should I be creating? He gets that message. He's got this white robe and the red cloak or cape or whatever. So he's spiritually connected, and that info that he gets from spirit then fires him up and says, this is what I want to do. So it's kind of the solution to a chariot person who doesn't know where they're going or what they're supposed to be doing. If you don't know what you want to succeed with or what you want to make inroads with, then ask your higher self, what is it that's going to light me up in life? What's going to make me happy? What's going to give me meaning? What should I be pursuing? If you do that, you get the answer via the Magician. You get a good outcome via the Chariot. But what the Magician is doing is he's using all the elements at his disposal, so planet Earth basically, to create something that exists for him internally. And by pointing down at the Earth, it appears in his physical experience. So this is interesting because it says, if I have the guidance and if I'm willing to do something with that guidance, then I'm going to succeed. So it's another card that's kind of saying, hey, this is a day where if you set a goal, it's almost guaranteed that you get the outcome that you want. So take a risk even, or revisit something that hasn't worked, because usually we don't have this much energy saying, keep pushing because you'll win. Finally, the Hermit, the 9th card in the Major Arcana. He's also looking for guidance, but he has this lantern here, this 6-sided star, and that's a Star of David. And in astrology, when I have a Star of David in a chart, one triangle points up, the other triangle intersects the first triangle and points down, and together they create a 6-pointed star. And when I see that in a chart, it's someone who's really operating at the highest level, because their spiritual presence is just as strong as their physical presence, and both operate hand in hand, and it's likely to be a very successful kind of existence because you're checking in with your higher self on anything that you do, and your higher self doesn't really let you fail. It only gives you information which is going to be beneficial to you. So by having that dialogue all the time and working in tandem with your higher self, it's going to guarantee pretty much that you have an amazing outcome. So all this success, it may be because you're so naturally connected to Source, or because the Hermit allows you to shine this light and to say, look within, that's where the universe exists, and you can get any kind of info or support or guidance that you need simply by being by yourself. You'll realize that you're not by yourself. That's a really lovely experience, actually, if you've never done that. Like, if you're sitting somewhere, just close your eyes and just kind of put your feelers out and see if there's anyone or anything that has your best interest at heart that's nearby. And usually, just by intending that, you'll notice that there are loads and loads and loads of guides and angels and higher beings around you supporting you. But sometimes it takes a little bit of peace and quiet to tap into that. You're not going to be talking to your spirit guide when you're at a nightclub dancing. You know what I mean? Sometimes, well, of course you're not, because it's much easier to talk to other people than it is to these invisible forces which are guiding and supporting you. That's why most of us don't bother with spirituality and meditation until we're kind of forced to. And most of us prefer socializing. But there is real value in sitting alone, closing your eyes, and just sensing who's around you, because you'll get a feel for it and you won't feel alone and you'll feel supported. So there are many reasons why you're going to be so victorious on this day. It may be your willingness to be quiet and to hear the guidance, or a real desire to be informed and to make something magical appear, or simply to prove something to yourself. Again, there are three very different people going about their business in very different ways, but each one of them are incredibly successful at what they do. So it doesn't matter where the inspiration is coming from, just accept it, embrace it, and create, and do something amazing with it, and set some goals and take risks and make it happen for yourself. Yeah, take a leap of faith when it comes to you, and do something where you don't have the guarantee of an amazing outcome, and do it anyway and be incredibly, pleasantly, wonderfully surprised. Number-wise, we've got 7 and 1 is 8, and 9 is 17. 1 and 7 is 8 in numerology, and 8 is strength and power. And you have power to get the guidance today and then to do something with it. So it's twofold, to receive and then to act. So listen to what the universe wants you to do today. Follow that guidance, even if you're questioning it or if you have doubts. Just kind of follow the instructions and look out for a really positive outcome at the end of all of it. So I hope you have a lovely day. If you would like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. On the front page, click on book your reading to audio reading with me. If you like this video, then give it a thumbs up. Please hit subscribe and share the video online. Have a fabulous Tuesday, and I'll speak to you tomorrow.